Well, hello there. It's another short talk in the trailer park with the old guy. I haven't been posting for a while. We ran into some hiccups. Anyway, I just wanted to talk today. It's like if we were at a park bench, and having a conversation about stuff. Hey, what you been up to? And I thought, well, you know what I've been doing? I've been arguing with ChatGPT. It's loads of fun. I was having some of the most bizarre. You have to type everything in because the thing doesn't have, at least that I'm aware of, a voice contact. But it's just fascinating dealing with this so-called intelligence. Ugh, this thing's dumber than a bag of rocks. Stupid. Stupidly stupid. I was asking it questions today about the so-called missions of 69 and onward, sponsored by Never a Straight Answer. And I don't buy that hokey pokey for a minute. But the point is, you start cornering this thing, this Chat GPT, with specific questions. And some of the things it says are just astonishing. I was writing all these comments back to comment. This thing's insane. What's it talking about? So here's the sort of thing I was asking it. I said, hey, what's the, I don't know, we'll call it favorite power for amateur astronomers? Well, it could be 50 power, could be 100 power, could be 200 power, could be 300 power. Blah, blah, blah. I said, well, let's call it 200 power. Under ideal circumstances, whatever those are. You have atmospheric conditions, let's face it, where you're going to get some blur between here and the moon because of the air. Well, at any rate, I said, what's the smallest feature that could be identified as a specific thing on the moon? Well, it seems to think that it's 1 kilometer by 1 kilometer, which I know is bogus. That's 6/10 of a mile. Give me a break. And then, so I called Bing, which is also linked into the GPT. Now it says it's 500 yards, which is only a quarter of a square kilometer. So I said, well then, okay, a quarter of a square kilometer. I said, let's pretend that we could mysteriously locate the USS Ronald Reagan and just set it right there on the surface of the moon and tell the guys with your visual scopes on Earth, find it. Could they? No, it would never show up. They couldn't focus that tight. What? I said, what about something the size of the Astrodome? No, that would be too small. But it can see a 1 kilometer crater right next door. Yeah. Interesting. Could it spot something the size of Albuquerque? I mean, the city limits? No, too small. Well, that's odd. How about Bernalillo County? Could it do that? I mean, Bernalillo's not a huge county, but it's good size. No, too small. Can't see it. Wait a minute. You said you could see 1 square kilometer. How come you can't see a footprint that's 65 miles by 45 miles? Well, it has to do with conditions and having to do with the lenses. What? I said, well, could it spot something the size of the state of New Mexico? 5th largest state, I think. I don't know. Maybe it's not. But it's a big state area-wise. Could it pick up something that big if it was put on the moon? No, too small. Can't see it. And I'm sending all these messages back to the programmers. Hey, your dude, he's smoking crack. Just get him into rehab. I was like, what? I said, well, let's just pretend then, because you're having such a hard time focusing here today. What if you had an object the size of the Pacific Ocean on the moon as a separate object? Could you identify it from Earth with a 200x telescope? No, too small. And that's what passes for artificial intelligence, people. Let me tell you, I tried to corner it 6 ways from Sunday. I kept telling it, you're insane. What are you talking about? How can it be that I can pick out a toothpick and I can't see a redwood? How can it be that I can pick out 1 pebble and cannot see Mount Rushmore? It was like, what are you talking about? And it's just so weird. So anyway, that's what I was doing today. It was kind of fun. I was having all kinds of great arguments with it, and it basically all it does is just repeats the NASA talking points. It doesn't have any intelligence really. It's just been pre-programmed to be a flunky, one of the establishment types, and don't rock the boat and quit asking. Basically, just quit asking. That's all. So if you want to know what happened in '69, would you like to hear my theory? It ain't that hard to figure out, people. You don't have to be a detective. I've got a high school education. I have no astronomical experience whatsoever, except I like looking at the stars. I came up with an answer about how it's obviously false. The robot machine cannot understand my illustration. It doesn't know what I'm talking about. I've got a spam call coming in and it says, get out of here. So sorry, there was a spam call that came in and it says, well, we'll resume recording when the call's over. It's like, what? So anyway, sorry, we're back. Anyway, I've just been having a great time dealing with this mess today. And the thing that's so weird about this is that it's sort of like an uncanny kind of feeling where certain things end up with these weird looping kind of nothing burger answers that are supposed to somehow serve as if it were a definite explanation. Yeah, that makes tons of sense. I asked it straight out. Now, this was an earlier argument I got into it with. I said, the little crosshatches that appear on NASA photos here, how they frame their photos? How? Under any circumstances known to mankind, could an astronaut end up in front of the X? And the robot voice, the GPT thing says, oh yeah, that can happen. Sure. Happens all the time. Trust me. Well, anyway, here's the short version. Here's how you tell the whole thing was fake. All you got to do is get online. Google the phases of the moon. Hello? Ask for photos, not drawings. Photos of the phases of the moon. It'll show it day by day. Then flip over, find a map of the moon. Where do they land? So-called Mare Tranquillitatis. Guess what? The moon is tidally locked with the Earth. Mare Tranquillitatis doesn't move around on the surface of the moon. We know where it was. Guess what? Look up 20 July 69. Just look it up. It depends on the series, but all of them basically agree within a few hours of observation time. It depends when the photo was shot. Mare Tranquillitatis was not in daylight. It was still in shadow on the 20th. The sun began to emerge on the 21st. What does the sun emerging on the 21st mean? That means that if you're on the moon's surface at that time and at that place, you would be seeing what we would call daybreak. Sun coming up over the horizon. What happens at horizon shadows? Oh, I know. They get very, very long. You can go out tomorrow morning if you want. Go out in the field somewhere and find a parking lot. Get out there at daybreak. Get a tape measure. You can make a shadow if you're 5'9", like I do, at least 100 feet long. Easy. On the moon, it would be significantly longer because the arc of the planet is falling off sooner. That means your shadow is going to travel further from your perspective because it's got a smaller sphere to rotate on. At daybreak on the moon, you should be casting shadows well over 200 feet long at least. They should be very sharp and very crisp with no fuzzy edges at the top. If you look at your own shadow on a bright sunlit morning, the top is all fuzzy and irresolute because the shadow is interfering through the light, or the light is interfering with the edge of the shadow. You're no longer getting a nice crisp edge like you would right at your feet if you look at that shadow, but the head is all out of focus. It's everywhere. That would not be true on the moon. Where are those photos? If they arrived at daybreak or before daybreak, why are the shadows, if you look at the angle of inclination, hello, how far up? It was like 25 to 40 degrees up above the horizon for those photos because the angle of the shadow tells you where the light source was. You don't have to be an Einstein here. It's simple. It would be like this. If I went out and took a picture of that shadow, that long one we were just discussing, 109 feet or whatever it works out with my Milwaukee tape, and then I came out at 9:15 and we took the same photo at the same place. This time I'm only casting a 14-foot shadow. If I tried to tell you that the 14-foot shadow picture, and you can see the shadow, was the one that was taken at daybreak, why would you believe it? The shadows are all wrong. Problem solved. You guys have a good day. God bless. Fly fast.